As war fatigue sets in, morale among Russian army officers plummets, and they make the decision to desert and join the rebels. The commander of the Russian Freedom Legion reveals that these officers have had enough of the ongoing conflict and recognize that Putin's actions are leading them and their nation towards destruction. In response, Putin declares that the instigators of this rebellion will be held accountable. But the truth is that the defection of Russian army officers and security officers to the rebel side is growing, reports the commander of the Freedom Legion. The Kremlin chief's reign came to an end on Saturday, June 24, when Yevgeny Prigozhin, one of Putin's closest allies, led an armed uprising that nearly toppled the regime. The event, which occurred 23 years into Putin's rule, shook his administration to its core. In a state of panic, Russia's elites fled the capital along with their president, making a hasty escape before Wagner's boss seemed to lose his temper and withdraw his rebel soldiers just as they were about to reach Moscow. Our mission will not be interrupted by Putin or any similar figure in the future. In recent days, a lowly Putin has made efforts to regain control, banishing Prigozhin to Belarus and allegedly arresting a top Russian general with ties to Wagner's boss. In a surprise move, General Sergei Surovikin, a high-ranking military officer and suspected covert Wagner affiliate, was detained by Kremlin members for questioning over his alleged role in the uprising. Putin, in a meticulously orchestrated sequence of televised remarks, announced the triumph of unity between the military and the population, avoiding Russia's precipitous slide into internal conflict. Without a single shot fired in anger, Wagner's units confidently seized the city of Rostov-on-Don. This important stronghold, known to house more than 1 million people and serve as the command center of the Russian military's southern military district, provided evidence that countered the narrative and version of reality presented by the Russian president. Surprisingly, furthermore, as they headed north towards Moscow, Putin's security services were unable to offer any significant opposition. The commander of the Freedom Legion, the leading figure in the Russian rebels known as Caesar, conveyed to a British media outlet his lack of surprise regarding Putin's inaction amid the crisis, citing declining support for the leader among army officers and security officials. Furthermore, he disclosed ongoing communication and negotiations with a variety of security officers, also called Silovokis, from different departments. The tide is turning, and we are getting answers from unexpected sources. Russian sentiments are changing as people get tired of the war and Putin's oppressive reign. They are beginning to see that Putin's leadership is detrimental not only to Russia but to the entire world. As a result, our followers within the security elite are constantly increasing in number. The Legion, which fought valiantly for Ukraine, recently collaborated with Russian volunteer corps units in daring cross-border raids in the Belgorod region. It won't be long before Putin is faced with an uprising he can't put down. Since the May attacks, a significant increase in volunteers has drawn 4 battalions to the rebel group. There are 3 distinct factions within their ranks. The most prominent and populous are former Russian soldiers, who feel the invasion has gone too far because of their ties to Ukraine. A second category is made up of Russians who have been residing in Ukraine since before the invasion began. And a third is made up of a small group of anti-Putin activists scattered across Europe during the Russian occupation. Caesar, a Russian who lived in his hometown during the conflict, quickly fled St. Petersburg with his family after the invasion. Seeking refuge in another country for his family, he later traveled to Ukraine to join the opposition against Putin. 20 years ago, I realized that armed resistance was the only way to upset the system imposed by Vladimir Putin on all of Russia.